And we welcome you back to the Thundercast, and we have another special guest. We have Steve Lynch, the head coach of Brownsburg High School. Steve, how are you doing on this fine evening?
Great, Nick. Thanks for having me on your podcast.
Oh yeah, no problem. So in total, I have 11 questions, and the first question is, it's not a Brownsburg question. Uh,
Okay.
so the first question is, how has your experience been with the national team, with the USA team, junior team?
It it was unbelievable. Thanks for asking. It was just a really neat experience. We got invited. Coach Ryan Osborne from Carmel also got to go. Little background, the U.S. Junior Nationals host a mini camp at every Final Four and bring in like 60 to 70 kids. And again, the age that they bring in is who works with them. So, like high school coaches work with high school kids, college coaches work with the college kids, and so forth. So, we got invited in December, started filling out all of our paperwork. You got to do all the background stuff and kind of got all that done in January. And then we did. Just one quick Zoom before we went to the Final Four, and they did a coaches meeting on Wednesday, and then the kids came in Thursday, and it was basically 7 in the morning till 8 or 9 at night. It was really fun. It was pretty busy, but it was a wonderful experience. The one thing I've been telling everybody, it's just an atmosphere of gratitude. The kids are grateful to be there. The coaches are grateful to be there. USA Basketball is a great organization, so all of it was just a lot of fun, and I was very impressed with just the gratitude of everybody involved.
Yeah, yeah, it sounds really fun. And now I can tell you, now in my standpoint, well, because I'm a teenager and stuff, but I cannot handle being somewhere like 7 to 9 p.m. That that like I don't know how you did it, but that but that's really tough. But that's really tough to do. Like
It's
to
just
say,
like going to camp, man. You get up, you eat breakfast. They had wonderful speakers. They had Um, USA Basketball is kind of supported or sponsored by the NCAA, the NBA, and then the obviously the USA Olympic Foundation. So they had three different speakers. They had the NCAA speak to the athletes, then they had the NBA speak to the athletes. Jason Williams from Duke, who you see on ESPN now, came in and told his story, and it was very heartfelt and very, I thought, very connecting to the players and athletes that were there. So they had very good speakers, and then we get on the bus and go out to the Pacer Athletic Center in
mhm.
at Grand Park. And on Friday we had two practices. On Saturday we had one long practice. The kids came back and had a little bit of downtime, and then we took them to the Final Four games Saturday night. After each of those, most of the time the coaches met with the director, um, and we kind of did an evaluation where they're trying to really get a feel on the kids and the athletes and their personalities and who would be good fit for the teams that they end up taking this summer. They're going to Turkey, so it was a pretty long day, but very, very fulfilling, very enjoyable experience.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that sounds like that sounds like really much fun. So now the second question is, of the players that has gone through the Brownsburg program, which one was the toughest to coach?
Ooh, toughest to coach. Well, I'm going to tell you, Nick, I've been pretty spoiled because they've all been really good. I say we got great kids and great parents,
Mm-hmm.
and they come in, and obviously, it's when you start talking about how hard it is and playing time and things like that. I think every year we're going to have a player meeting with somebody that's not happy with their time and stuff. But in general, they've all been very enjoyable to work with. I would say the most difficult time was my first year. They didn't know me. They'd had three coaches in 3 years. They went from Coach Kendrick to Ronald Norad, who just got hired as the Butler coach. And then I was the third coach in 3 years for that group of boys. So I
Hmm.
think just getting to know them and trying to create some consistency and culture was probably the most challenging for me. But man, it's that's hard to say. We've had a hard one. We've been very, very blessed in Brownsburg for sure.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, definitely. Then the third question is, how different is it to coach Colton Catchings than Cannon Catchings?
Great question. Great question. Um, I knew Cannon because he was in my son's grade, so that's a group that we've been together with since like second, third, fourth grade. So I think the hardest thing with coaching anybody or playing for a coach is knowing them. I think I'm probably frustrating the freshman and sophomore players and parents. And then by the time they're juniors and seniors, like, well, that's Coach Lynch. And so, same for coaches, getting to know those kids and knowing the personalities. It's probably a little harder to know an eighth grader or freshman or sophomore until you're in the gym with them daily. So, I think that was the advantage I had with Cannon. Colton is a little bit young for his age, so I think just growing into his body and gaining experiences. But we got 2 years left, and I'm very excited about Colton's trajectory and his potential as a basketball player.
Yeah, I do have to agree though. Now, yeah, I watched uh like I watched the Brownsburg Avon sectional game. Like I watched the Brownsburg Ben Davis sectional game, and I even watched the Plainfield Brownsburg like Hendricks County championship game. But I saw a lot of improvement from. But I saw yeah I saw a lot of improvement like from Colton, and now he won't be as good like as Cannon, but he's still gonna be like one heck of a basketball player.
Well, he's not done playing yet, buddy. But
Yeah,
yes, for sure, he's not. He's not going to be as tall as Cannon, but he's
definitely.
gonna. He's got some development, and I'm
Hmm.
excited about what he's going to be as a basketball player as a young sophomore. But both of them are very talented young men, and just have been a real pleasure to work with over their time here in Brownsburg.
Oh yeah, definitely. Then the fourth one is what coaches do you look up to?
Oh, that's a great question, Nick. Man, that's how far back do you want me to go?
I mean,
Let's start locally. Like again, you've got a gem and Andy Weaver there at Plainfield that I know you got to be a manager for. Our coaches and our sectional, like you said, you're gonna now our old sectional was Terre Haute North, so you got Coach Wolfley who you're gonna have on your podcast. There's some really, really good coaches in the state of Indiana.
hmm
I've got a group of buddies. Brian Hahn was the coach at Pendleton, and Aaron Wolf played for us at Manchester, and then coached with Al Rhodes at Warsaw, and now he's the head coach at Northwood High School. Clint Swan, who just coached for a state championship. Those are kind of my, you have your text groups, so that's kind of
yeah.
my text group. I've known Coach Osborne for a real long time. He's done a great job, but man, there's a lot of guys. I really think between our sectional and our conference coaches, just some real good guys to look up to, and how hard they work, and knowing that other guys are going through the same thing that I'm going through is always kind of a either misery loves company, or just the fact that we're doing something that we're very passionate about. It's a great group of coaches in our state.
Oh yeah, definitely. Uh, yeah, yeah. So so yeah, now like I do have to agree. Like there are a ton of great coaches like in the sectional, and and yeah, now uh, now I don't know what the whole outlook looks like now for Plainfield with Coach Weaver now stepping down, but yeah, but Coach Weaver was such a great head coach, and I am very fortunate to have managed under him like for 2 years, and yeah, and now this is now I have no hate on this because I know it's just basketball, but both years that I managed, uh, like our season actually ended to you guys.
Okay.
But yeah, but
Well, you
yeah,
can be
but
mad about that.
I
I
mean,
ain't mad if you're mad.
I can't tell. I really don't know how mad I was
What
between the
years were those, Nick?
so I graduated like in May of 25.
Okay.
So the 2 years I managed like was when our section was at Terre Haute South and Avon. So I don't know what year I was the most upset. Probably
Okay.
my senior year because we were up. Uh, yeah, we were up big, and then we uh, lost. But that happened but that happened a lot that year. But
Well, it
yeah.
I would say this, winning is hard, and
Oh, definitely.
we've been very, very fortunate to play well in the tournament. Our kids have kind of gelled at the right time, so to speak. So there's always some luck involved. Like last year, we were kind of a work in progress, and kind of before Christmas, we are just struggling to figure out all the components required to win. And then
Hmm.
honestly, kind of towards the end there, they kind of caught fire, and it really came together for them. But yeah, I think when you get to the postseason, buddy, it's always takes a little luck. The ball's got to bounce your way for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why they say it's and that's why like everybody says like in 49 states it's just basketball, but this is Indiana.
Yep,
Hoosier hysteria always happens in the state of Indiana.
no doubt.
And and I had to say but what I saw from this year's postseason, that this year's postseason like was probably like the most crazy postseason. Like with Fishers being dropped early, Carmel losing like the next week to Snyder, uh, and the Mount Vernon coming back like on Crown Point like in winning state. Like there was some crazy games this year, and
No doubt, no doubt. And great atmospheres, great atmospheres. I
like,
don't know if you've ever been a
mm-hmm,
part of a neater atmosphere in the Plainfield sectional. Just some, when the communities come out like that, and there's it's basketball's very much alive. The Elkhart semi-state was packed. Most of those semi-state venues are packed, and so no doubt it's frustrating when your team loses or doesn't
mm-hmm,
advance, but the atmosphere and the electricity of those environments is still pretty impressive.
yeah. So then the next one is what goes into scheduling.
Great question. Finding teams that want to play. We've generally not been told too often, but sometimes your travel restrictions, like how far you can go and the cost of getting your team to places you want to go. We've been fortunate to travel. To go play Crown Point. They came to our place this year. We play in a really nice tournament at Grace College. They put on a really nice. It's called the Champions of Character tournament. We've previously played like in the Forum Classic and some of those places. And then generally you find teams that need games or um, around this area where you're playing.
Mm-hmm.
Home and home series. So I think it's important that you kind of get it the way you want it. That you're not playing. Um, probably January is our hardest month where we're playing conference games and you're playing back to back, probably too many weekends in a row. But some of
Yeah.
those are conference games or long-standing games. So, but other than January, I'm pretty pleased with our schedule.
Yeah. So, what was the thought process of scheduling Bedford North Lawrence, Liberty Christian, and like in Tippy Valley?
Um, Bedford was a return game. So Coach
Oh.
Godlewski, who was the women's coach at Butler when I first got here, he and I were friends, and so they came up and played in our sneakers game last year, and so we owed them a return game back to their place, and then we were supposed to play Gary 21st Century in our sneakers classic, and they had a conflict in schedule and dropped. So the coach at Liberty Christian said they could fill that spot. So that was kind of a last minute addition. And then Tippecanoe Valley is a neat story. That's where I graduated from. So it
Oh.
was the night before we played at Grace College. Grace College is in Warsaw. Tippecanoe Valley is in Akron or Mentone, which is right by Warsaw. And they did a really neat thing. My high school coach, they did an endowed scholarship in his name, and they announced it that night. So we brought our team up. Um, a bunch of people from kind of my era, the 80s and early 90s, came back. There's some people I haven't seen in a good 30 years, came back. I got to see both my seventh and eighth grade basketball coaches, and then they introduced our head coach and announced the scholarship in his honor. So that was more of a selfish trip, to be honest with you. That was a trip
Yeah.
for me than it was for Brownsburg. But super
Yeah.
proud of my kids. They were really nice. The Valley community treated us really, really well. And then we went and spent the night in Warsaw and then played at Grace College the next day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah. Now if I do become a coach, and I and I become a coach elsewhere, and I get to have an opportunity to schedule playing field, playing field like a Mooresville, like in any sport, like I'm gonna take up that offer
Yeah,
because, I mean, yeah. Now, now, uh, yeah. Now, for me, if I was to become a coach, uh, which is why, like, I'm now, which is why I'm now helping out with Mooresville. And if I was to become a coach, like I would pit. I mean, if there was a spot open, like with any of the mid-state schools, uh, like I would pick that because I would have a direct access to go to Plainfield or host Plainfield. And
right.
it's the same as Mooresville.
Right.
Plus,
It's neat to play where people,
yeah.
people and stuff like that. And there's pretty big size differential between us and Tippecanoe Valley, but that's a
Yeah.
one-time deal. Small world, the superintendent was actually one of the first players I had the opportunity to coach. And so just a lot of neat things. Their SRO, and I went to school together, so he's helping coach football there, and I actually had him speak to our Brownsburg team just as, hey, this is a guy I ran around with, and he continues to give back to the school, and thought it was neat that he spoke to our guys a little bit before we played. It was nice to go home. I'll say that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. Now, what teams are you guys looking at like to schedule this year?
Pretty much the same schedule. We added the Kokomo tournament. Coach South got us in. We played up there before, and then I think the year we got into the Hall of Fame, we got out of it for a couple of years, and so we'll go back to the
Mm-hmm.
Phil Cox tournament at Kokomo. It's just a really nice tournament, and if you know anything about Phil Cox, it's a great person that represents that tournament, and it's close. So that's a new addition. We're still looking to add 3 games, and so. Um, might head north to like a South Bend or a tournament like if we can find something up north somewhere.
Yeah,
Maybe jump in one more showcase event. The one nice thing about the USA basketball is there's a coach from Chicago and a coach from St. Louis, and by the time we got done, it was kind of neat. We're talking about trying to get our teams together and play. So we may throw in one of those special trips to uh, play somebody that we just because
yeah.
of the USA basketball experience.
Oh yeah, definitely. Now, uh, uh, now I am shocked that you guys are actually now going back to Kokomo, but now, because I didn't even realize, because I didn't even think like after you guys dropped out of that tournament, like that you guys would go back. But uh, uh, now I have to say, like from my time there in that tournament from Plainfield, like as we were there, like my 2 years I was managing, that
Right.
was probably the best thing ever. Cause like to go inside that historic gym, like Christmas week,
Yep.
like uh, like that was definitely the best thing.
Yeah. It's
And
Go
yeah,
ahead.
I, yeah, yeah, that was definitely the best thing. It, like to actually see someplace else, stay in a hotel, like with my friends and teammates. That was probably the best. Uh, like that was probably like one of the best trips like I took, and but now on a little funny side, like it was my first year managing, so so we stopped at Culver's, like I think on the way back, like on the way back, and that's where I got the nickname from Coach Weaver, eight piece. Like that's
Okay.
where, uh, because I got 8 piece chicken strip and and yeah and yeah that was probably like the best thing.
That's awesome. Coach Weaver taking you guys to Culver's. That's pretty cool, man.
Mm,
Pretty
yeah,
cool.
definitely.
All right.
Yeah, definitely. And then the next one is where does the postseason magic come from? Because it seems like to me that in the seasons that Brownsburg like is either uh at 500 like in the regular season or don't do well in the regular season, Brownsburg always finds a way like to play good as the tournament goes on. Like for example, Ben Davis this year, because Ben Davis was supposed to be the heavy favorite, and once again Brownsburg showed up, and then like in the other example, Brownsburg played Pike close,
Yeah.
like for the first half.
Yeah, no, got that. I wish I had an answer for you because I'd like to see that magic every sectional.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, I think it's we've had a couple years early that we had some disappointing efforts in the tournament and I think it's the kids and their determination, and I think, we kind of get what we want established in November, December, and January. You kind of fine tune it, and then February, it's either gonna go or it's not. And for the last couple of years, again, we had the semi-state run, and then got beat by Terre Haute North at Terre Haute North, I think, and then or was it South, um, and then have had a pretty good run the last couple of years. So probably over the last 4 or 5 years, pretty proud of the kids and their effort. But man, as far as the magic, I think that belongs to the kids and their commitment. And so again, like when we said earlier, just super blessed. The kids buy in, they work real hard. You know, we had a talk this year, and I'll share a little bit like the whole like whether I believe in them or not. Like, hey, coach doesn't believe in me. Now, like, well, here's my thought, and I'll mean this sincerely. Like, I'm watching Ben Davis and I'm watching him shred people. And my belief in my team, we put a brand new defense in 48 hours before we played. And so, I said my confidence shows up in different ways in how we play. But I don't think I would be as daring to do that if I didn't believe we could do it. And so, that's a conversation we've had over the years. It's like, we can only do what they're capable of doing. And so, I thought that was a real big thing for us and our team that I could change and implement kind of a different defense that we haven't been doing a whole lot before we played, just because I thought the kids could do it. And so again, that's just a real credit to our kids.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely. And now I want to know now how hard was it like to get a new defense within 48 hours of that game? Because I know that yeah,
Well, no, tongue in cheek there. We still played 1-3-1, but we play a real high and wide 1-3-1.
yeah.
And so we tightened it up. And so we had one day to practice and one day to walk through. And I thought the guys did a pretty good job. Now, that being said, we still gave up 73 or 74 points, but I thought um, how they scored was a lot different than what I've been seeing on tape. So, thought our assistant coaches did a great job with scouting report. Thought our guys did a really good job of trying to do what we asked them to do in a short period of time. And uh, and again, going back to that, like we gave up a lot of points. Didn't close the game great, but we kind of put ourselves in a position and scored the ball early. And so that kind of fed our offense. And then I thought it just did enough defensively that kind of gave us an advantage.
Yeah. So how hard is it to coach in how hard is it to coach like in Hendricks County?
In Hendricks County,
Hmm.
well, from the standpoint that everybody does a great job, again, they've changed coaches, but you had Coach Barber at Danville and Coach Bontrager and a couple different guys at Tri West and obviously Coach Weaver since I've been here at Brownsburg
Hmm.
and Coach Young and Coach Schaus and Coach Taylor now at Avon and so am I forgetting anybody? I think that's everybody, but just some guys that have done a really nice job. So every game's challenging when we talk about the Hendricks County tournament and different teams have won it every year or different. We had a good stretch kind of um, 2017 through 2020, so to speak. But for the most part, it's been very challenging. Guys do a great job. You can see on film how hard their kids play, and then you get there in person, and kids are gritty. They compete. Um, some good basketball players. You've had, man, I'm just gonna forget all the names, but you've had some really good players at different schools that have gone on to play, whether they play basketball or other sports. Um, have had some very good, successful college careers. So the Hendricks County experience has been really good. A lot of my stops, like when I was at Mount Vernon, Hancock County had some really good basketball, and then for them to have back to back Mr. Basketballs, a state champion, and the Mullins kid to come back and play in the Final
Yeah.
Four this year, like Hancock County's had a heck of a run in basketball. So super fortunate to have my coaching career at two places that
Hmm.
not only is basketball important, but they produce some really good basketball players and some really neat coaches to compete against at the same time have a great camaraderie with.
Oh yeah, definitely. So then the next question like is kind of like that, except Hendricks County. How hard is it to coach in the HCC?
Really good. I mean, I'm sure some people would disagree, but I think it's a big conference. It's great schools, really good talent, really good coaches. Well, that people would disagree. Like, again, I think it's one of the best conferences in the state. So you're
Hmm.
going to see the best athletes. You're going to see some really good coaching. I'm stealing stuff all the time from film. Noblesville plays Zionsville, and they did something, and I'll put it in and then our kids that watch a lot, you always know who watches film because they're like, "Hey, did Noblesville run this?" And they're like, "Yeah, we stole it from Noblesville." So, you always kind of know which one of your players are watching film by when you go put something in. They're like, "Hey, this is what Noblesville runs." Like, well, somebody's been watching film, but
Hmm.
anyway, it's again really good guys, coaches that work really hard. Um, Even the players, like the handshake line, like you see these guys at the top 100 or Charlie Hughes or different camps in the summer. And, like everybody goes kind of to a team camp and you see them there. And, you're trying all you can to win the game. But when it's over, very cordial and everybody takes time to say more than good game. So, it's been again just a really good experience and something I very very much appreciate.
Yeah. What was the whole thing with with Center Grove like in Carmel trying to join the HCC back years ago?
Great question, Nick. And so I know they had left the MIC, and I think they applied, and then that is a principal vote. So I guess our principals decline that. But I'll be honest with you, I don't have an exact answer for you. I do know, I believe Carmel and Cedar Grove are going back to the MIC this year, so
Yeah,
they'll,
they
they'll
are.
rejoin the conference. So, yeah, that's about all I know is I think they applied and the conference principals declined. So, but that's
Yeah.
been a couple years.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now, uh, so I am of course like a big fan like of the whole conference stuff. Now I was talking to uh, I think now I think I mentioned this to Dryme Lomax, which I think he agreed with me, and and there were a few people, but the one thing that I think might change in the HCC, what I think could be helpful is if Carmel does end up trying to rejoin the HCC. What I think they should do is I think they should just switch with Franklin Central, because Franklin Central with the whole travel with the travel uh, 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 I mean, with the whole travel slash distance thing, like I think Franklin Central would be better in like travel sense, like in the MIC, because they're already closer to the indie based schools and they're already a lot closer to Center Grove. Like,
Gotcha, gotcha.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but I don't see that happening like for another like 5 to 10
No, I
years.
think we'll only add to the conference. So yeah, it's been good, Nick. It's I'll be honest with you, our easiest Franklin Central is a little easier to get to than when you go around the north side Friday at 4 o'clock. So the hard
Yeah,
travel for us being on the west side is getting to Noblesville or Fishers on a Friday night, like at 4 o'clock, trying to get there for a 6 o'clock
yeah.
JV game. But yeah, logistics, I think, again, it's all manageable. It's not like the old North Central Conference where Lafayette Jeff's trying to drive to Richmond. So they're all pretty manageable and like I said, good schools with great kids and coaches. So it's been real enjoyable.
Oh yeah. Now that whole like Lafayette Jeff traveling to Richmond thing. Now that's gonna be. I mean, that's gonna be just like the Sagamore next year. Like with the Terre Hautes having to travel up here to play Lafayette Harrison, McCutcheon, Lebanon, like in Danville.
Yeah.
Like, like that's a huge travel thing. How difficult was it to coach against Fishers?
Um, the last couple of years they've just been very good. They've
Mm-hmm.
we had a good run against them and then Coach Weniger did a great job and they've been real heavy defensively with like ball pressure and I thought some things like generally they just smash people on the glass and I felt like that's an area we've held our own. Keeping them off the glass. But this year they just smashed us in transition. Like
Yeah.
honestly, like when we evaluate some things that we'll put on the board after a game is the transition differential, rebounding differential, shooting percentages, and turnovers. And just a comparison like, all right, we didn't shoot as well, but we did a great job on the glass. And we had fewer turnovers. So, um, or hey, you guys shot the ball really well, but right here you can see they turned us over like five more times. And generally, Fishers is really good on the glass, beating people in transition, and then they win that turnover margin more often than not. They take care of the basketball, and then they force you into just probably more turnovers than you're used to committing.
Yeah. Yeah. So then the last question is, which is probably like one of my fan favorite, not fan favorite, but this is one of my favorite questions to ask people. What has been your favorite gym like to coach at?
Oh wow. Fortunate to have gone around to a lot of gyms. Would have to say, Frankfurt O'Case Arena, the Kokomo Memorial Gym, Newcastle Chrysler Arena. Coach Alford would be mad if I didn't mention Chrysler Arena. Just a really neat place to play. We probably played there more when we were in Mount Vernon, but to get to play the semi-state there in the Hall of Fame was really cool. Um, our conference has neat facilities. Noblesville's got a neat place. Every venue we play at, it's really nice. Zionsville's got a nice place. We got a nice gym. I like the old historic gyms, to go down to Bedford and play where Damon Bailey played. That gym hasn't changed a lot, and so I'm sure they've done some things to it, but like to walk in and say, "Hey, this is where Damon Bailey played." Anytime you can take your team and go places like that, that's kind of cool. Um, so having one favorite, I'm not sure, but I'll be honest, we used to take the guys to the Knightstown gym where they filled Hoosiers, and you can rent that gym in the summer and play, and it was always kind of neat to take our guys there, and we just haven't done it at Brownsburg because it's again 40 minutes to get around town and then drive on down to Knightstown, but it was neat to always go to Hoosier gym sometimes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I now now comparing your gyms like to my favorite gyms like that I've been to, like one of my all time favorites it has to be Brownsburg. Like with that jumbotron in there, like with all the space in there. Like
Yeah.
the space is nice. Like the atmosphere is nice. Um, uh, like another one I have to agree with you on, like is Kokomo, because
Hmm.
like as once again, like I went up there for the tournament like 2 years in a row. That was probably like one of my favorite gyms. Like my favorite gym has to be Mooresville
Okay.
because it's closer. Because it's closer, like it's because it has that kind of newer and older style. Because they have the older style jumbotron. With and yes, I'm talking about jumbotrons because I'm a huge fan of schools getting video boards
Yep.
like in jumbotrons.
Yep.
Like I'm a fan of like Avon's because it's now tiny. Well, I called it the Tinytron last year. It just be funny. Well, I mean,
You're
it
gonna
is
make Coach
tiny.
Young mad down there. He gonna be calling you up here, Nick. I'll be nice to him.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Well, thanks for joining the thanks for joining the Thundercast, Steve, and have a great rest of your night. And good luck. Yeah, and good luck next season.
Thank you, Nick. Appreciate you having me on. Just want to say again, since you're a big Plainfield guy, congratulations to Coach Weaver and his coaching career. Just one of the best people I've got to get to know, and just want to say publicly, congratulations to him
Hmm.
and the success he had in his coaching career. But thanks for having me on.
Yep. Yep. No problem.